Welcome to Rich's Era. On Monday, lawyers for former President Donald Trump's companies threw former CFO Allen Weisselberg under the bus during opening remarks in a criminal case over whether the company committed tax fraud. Before we continue, please support us by clicking on the subscription button and turn on the notification bell for more reliable updates. Weisselberg and two of Trump's companies were indicted in Manhattan last year after prosecutors said the company's compensation to Weisselberg included perks like apartments, luxury cars and private school fees for his grandchildren that were never reported on their taxes. In August, Weisselberg pleaded guilty to 15 charges, including grand larceny, tax fraud and falsifying business records. He agreed to serve 5 months in prison and pay $1.9 million in back taxes and penalties and agreed to testify in the Trump Organization trial. On Monday, prosecutors detailed his crimes and promised that Weisselberg would tell the jury the inside story of how he pulled off this prosecution stunt. In this case, it's about greed and fraud, tax fraud, prosecutor Susan Hoffinger said in court. According to Politico, the scheme was implemented, managed and approved at the highest level of the accounting department. Meanwhile, lawyers representing two of Trump's companies in court threw Weisselberg under the bus, claiming Trump could be the real victim of the plan. Weisselberg did it for Weisselberg, Michael Van der Veen, Trump's payroll attorney, said in court. Van der Veen argued that Weisselberg had betrayed the Trump family's trust after 50 years of working for the family. Given the decades he was there and the projects that he worked, and that he was with that family when times were good in '87, and when times weren't so good, everyone trusted him to do this company. He said, according to Mother Jones, he was like family to the Trump family, and no employee was more trusted than he was, but he made mistakes. He further claimed that Trump only found out about Weisselberg's tax evasion attempts after he was charged. Everyone was here during jury selection and heard the D repeatedly argue that Donald Trump was involved with Allen Weisselberg, or even knew what he was doing, he said. You will learn that Mr. Weisselberg hid his actions from the company and the company's owners. But Weisselberg still remains on the company's payroll, which Van der Veen suggested out of kindness to the Trumps' hearts. Since the discovery of his crimes, he has been treated like a close family member who has committed serious and even criminal errors, he said. We all know the biblical story of the prodigal son, a man who has set his own personal goals and desires above his family's, and when everything falls apart, the same family takes him back and allows him to move on. Although Trump signed the checks for things like private school tuition for Weisselberg's grandchildren, it was solely Weisselberg's responsibility, he claimed. Allen Weisselberg admitted to cheating on his taxes, argued Van der Veen. Susan Nichels, an attorney for Trump Corporation, made a similar request to the jury, arguing that they should not let their opinion of the former president influence their verdict. You should not consider this event to be a referendum on President Trump or his policies, he said. It started and ended with Allen Weisselberg. Allen Weisselberg did this. The two Trump companies are charged with 9 felonies, including criminal tax fraud, conspiracy and falsification of business records, and face a $1.6 million fine. Trump, his company and his 3 eldest children have also been accused of decades-long tax fraud by New York Attorney General Letitia James in a civil investigation. Trump himself was not criminally charged in the Manhattan case, but Hoffinger clarified that the alleged criminal conduct took place between 2005 and 2017. When the companies were owned by Donald Trump. The evidence will show that when Donald Trump was elected president in late 2016, these companies finally had to eliminate these fraudulent tax practices, he said. Trump's choice. Hoffinger added that no one has more financial authority than Weisselberg, except